I'm going to tell you how I mastered my lust, and I'm going to teach you how you could do the same. Now, a disclaimer here, viewer discretion is required. This video is for the brothers, and the reason why this video is for the brothers and not the sisters is because I'm going to be giving explicit details about my sexuality. Now, I know that a lot of sisters may watch this video anyways. That is completely up to you. My job is to give you the viewer discretion, but you are going to receive very explicit details. And the reason why is because I want to be as transparent and honest as possible so that we can master lust once and for all. Now, what mastering lust has done for me is it's turned me into a superhuman, and it can turn you into a superhuman as well. All right. And this is through the mercy of Allah, because there's an issue here, right? Is that when you don't master the art of sexual energy transmutation, all of that sexual energy then starts to outflow instead of inflow. And this is a very important concept here, okay? The reason why you need to master your lust is because the sexual energy is so sacred that it can quite literally create lives. Now, the interesting thing about that is it's not only for reproduction, it's also the energy system within your body. It's the power that goes up your spine, your spinal fluid, and taps into your brain right to the pineal gland. Now, this is going to get very, very interesting. Everything I'm about to tell you is going to be very eye-opening. What you can expect out of this video is to become superhuman. What you can expect out of this video is that you are going to ascend multiple levels in your conscious ability. You're going to start seeing the world from this four-dimensional, maybe even five-dimensional view, and it's going to be powerful, right? Now, the thing with lust is that a lot of men are going to deal with it. I dealt with it, right? Now, I would say my journey with lust was very different than a lot of men, right? I don't feel like I indulged in it as much, right? Alhamdulillah, there was more of a conscious ability from the start, but I did have my phases, right? And we all have our phases. Now, some men are going to be at very low states where lust is completely taken over your life. You have this urge to watch things on the internet. You have this urge to constantly touch yourself. You have urge to constantly reproduce with a woman or do the act that reproduces. Now, I'm going to tell you one thing. This is the very explicit information. And this raises a few eyebrows when I say it, when I tell the men explicitly, is that I have not outflowed my life force in well over a year, maybe even a year and a half. I just haven't, right? All of that energy that could have left my body, it doesn't leave my body. It goes right up here to the pineal gland. Now, I'm going to explain why. And a lot of you guys are going to take this information and you're going to be like, okay, well, maybe maybe this is proof that you're not married. Well, I'm going to stop right there. Even if you're married, there is no reason to outflow the life force unless you are building a life. There is no reason to outflow the life force unless you are building a life. This is actually not what's going to make you superhuman. Now, I'm going to explain this as well, right? You're going to learn a lot of very interesting things in this video, and you're going to hear a lot of interesting things in this video. And once you master this, you're going to realize why some people move very differently who have mastered their lust, and why the people who haven't are stuck in these very low conscious loops, almost miserable, almost feeling like their life is purposeless, okay? So the reason why I haven't outflowed in over, let's say, maybe at this point, maybe 15, 16 months, is because I simply do not have the desire to. I simply do not have the desire to. It's because all that energy stays within me, and I feel so powerful. I go to the gym. I could be not working out for months. I'll stack 2 plates on a bench and just start punching that. If you ever see me at the gym, I know a lot of you have met me at the gym, right? I don't know if you watch my videos, but you've been surprised. I punch that weight out. That's all that internal energy. I'm working, moving all the time. My mental capacity is going through the roof. My energy, my aura is at an all-time high through the mercy of Allah. This is not something I've done. Allah has bestowed this upon me. And Allah can bestow this upon you, but you have to have the desire for Allah to bestow this upon you. You have to ask Allah of this, and then you have to believe that this is you. Now, remember that when you do not outflow the life force goes back in you and it circulates and it goes right up the spine and it goes to the pineal gland. I mentioned this a few times. This is a very, very important concept, okay? And the reason why is because this life force is so powerful that it's regenerative, okay? It's regenerative. And once you feel this regeneration of power going through your body, it's like an electrical surge. You see everything completely different, okay? Now, if you're married, you shouldn't be outflowing your life force either, unless you are trying to have a child. Now, a lot of people might think, oh, well, then what's the point of the pleasure? No, there's a lot of pleasure in it, brother. There's a lot of pleasure in not releasing the life force. You get to the peak, and instead of that going out, it goes right back into your body. It goes right up your brain, up your spine, right here. And you feel the outflow, the orgasm. You don't feel it leaving your body. You don't feel the emptiness. You don't feel the lethargy. You don't feel tired. You feel like something just hit you, and you feel so powerful that you almost feel superhuman. It's all of a sudden this surge of power, this force, stronger than caffeine, stronger than any sort of stimulant, any sort of drug that you could possibly take. When you get to that peak and you are able to control through the pelvic floor muscle, through mental conscious control, all of a sudden, it all goes up and it hits you in the pineal gland. As I said, this is a very, very explicit video, and this is how I operate. This is how I operate. Alhamdulillah. And it's not stopping. So unless I'm having a child, nothing like that's ever occurring. And that's the thing, is that when you have the conscious ability and you're like, I'm only doing this to produce a child, imagine how powerful that child comes out. Because you conserved all of that life force to actually create a life. Now, here's a very, very important thing, is that this is also nuanced into the trust in a relationship. You see, women are very interesting in this area, is that the more you release the life force with a woman, if you're married, brother, the more she starts trusting you less. She'll start trusting you less. And the reason why is because if she can deplete you of your life force every single time, if she can get you to be lustful over her, she knows the world can break you down. Because look how tired you get. You release the life force and then you're laying there like a dead man. Me, no. I don't lay there like a dead man. I stand right up. Right? The real man, the real masculine man, the powerful man, the superhuman stands right up. Because it doesn't leave his body. It goes right to his soul. It energizes him. It hits the pineal gland. It hits the brain. It goes up the spine. And if you've ever done this, if you've ever achieved this type of sexual mastery, by the way, you know what I'm talking about. This isn't exclusive to myself. A lot of people have experienced this. It might be a very small little cookie crumb compared to the cookie. But a lot of people have experienced this. She starts to trust you less because she's like, yeah, if I could deplete this man of my life force, then the whole world can do that. That means another woman can do that. It's just so easy for this man to be depleted of all his energy. But when you don't do it, she starts looking at you like you're superhuman. And then she'll test you even more. She'll try to deplete the life force. It might even hit her ego a little bit, like, man, I can't do it. Even though she's upset that she can't do it. Deep down in her primal nature, deep down in her primal instincts, her need for survival in this big bad world, she starts to look at you like the man. She's like, whoa, this guy's a superhuman. I could trust this guy. I'm attracted to this guy. This guy's going to lead me to Jannah. Nothing can make this guy bend. Nothing can make this guy shake. This guy could say no. And here's the thing, is that you got to be able to say no. Now let's go down to the basics, okay? So I started the video with more intense concepts. Let's go down to the basics. The first thing is that remember that women should not be objectified. The second you start objectifying a woman is the second you've already lost the game. Understand that women have this conscious power. They have a soul, all right? And this soul that they have is sacred. And Allah has created them very, very different than men. We as men, we're the getters. We're the active. We get it done. But women, they're receivers by nature. Whether that's in the active energy or the receptive energy. By active, I mean if the woman's more active in her energy, maybe she's a businesswoman. Or maybe she's more receptive. She wants to be a homemaker, right? She just wants to stay at home and receive, right? It doesn't matter, right? Even a homemaker can be active in her energy. Maybe she wants to go be a Pilates mom or go to the gym. Right? So women have both active and receptive energy. Okay, I don't want to get mixed into the nuances of this. However, is that we as men, we are these go-getters. We are the risk takers. We are supposed to be the leaning of that wall. Okay? She needs to be able to lean on that wall. All right? Well, that's what we are. We're the wall that cannot break. It's being unshakable that makes us a man. So when you understand the roles of the man and the woman, is that true masculinity is in your ability to be unshakable. That also comes to your sexuality. That also comes to the fact that you don't get aroused easily. That also comes to the fact that your life force doesn't leave you unless you decide it leaves you. And that's the truth, is that my life force doesn't leave me until I decide. It just doesn't, because I decide. Now, we can get into more nuances about that in a bit, because I know this is a very interesting conversation. But let's go back. Don't objectify women. Women are not just sexual objects. They're not just for the physical intimacy. When you start to view them for what they are, the more and more you learn about women and their nature, the less you start to become lustful, and the more you start to raise your consciousness, because you start to see the world for what it is. And when you raise in consciousness, you don't desire the flesh to flesh connection from a lustful level. You desire the soul to soul connection. You desire the sacred connection. And this is where I get at, is that the second you raise your consciousness and you understand what women were in this world for, their receiving energy, their powerful feminine, their intuitive nature, their ability to bring life into this world the way they do. Even the fact that they have these lunar cycles, these menstrual cycles that are around 4 weeks, right? 28 to 35 days, sometimes 40 days. Once you start to realize that these women, even their cycles are different than men. Think about that. Their cycles are different than men. Menstrual phase, the ovulation phase, the follicular phase, the luteal cycle, which are 4 very different cycles. And they go week by week by week. And so once you understand a woman, and you really understand this from a conscious ability, your perspective on them changes. And therefore, you also raise in consciousness, and it helps you master your lust. So women have these phases, but we as men, we have testosterone phases that go by the day. So there's symbolism in the world. The men are more like the sun. We go up and down, but the moon, it has a cycle, right? It has its phases. So women are like that. Okay. So once we understand that, we start to understand women more, right? Once we understand the nature of women, we start to understand women more, right? When we understand the primal nature of women, we start to understand women more. And once we start to realize what a woman is, you become less lustful automatically. That's step number 1. You got to learn more about women. I make videos about women all the time. There's so many videos, even on this YouTube channel, about women. I break down the psychology a lot. And if you want me to break down more psychology about women, I can. Just put it in the comment section. That's not an issue. All right? So that's one thing. Stop objectifying the woman. All right. I have almost a asexual type tendency. All right. Where I'm really not sexually attracted to much. Genuinely, I'm just so focused on purpose that a woman could be right in front of me and she could try to seduce me. It just wouldn't happen because I don't view her from the state of the flesh. I view her from the state of consciousness and from her soul. And once you start to do that, you start to realize that lust just disappears. All right. So if you're wondering how I control my lust, this is really it. I tapped into a higher level of consciousness, and I've understood women for what they are. Okay. And once you understand women for what they are, you only want the soul to soul connection. That's it. And the soul to soul connection can only come through what? Marriage, nikah. All right. So then you automatically avoid sins like zina. All right. So this is very, very important. Now, that's one thing. The next thing is you need to understand the power and force that comes with keeping your life force intact. The power and force that comes with the energy transmutation. A lot of people just don't believe it. Trust me. This is real. You will become a superhuman the second you tap into your ability to control your life force. You will become a superhuman. You'll become a force of nature. All of a sudden, all the women will come to you. Because there's an instinct to women. There's an instinct. They can sniff it. They can sniff a lustful man from a mile away. The second you said hello, she can sniff the lust on you. Very true, by the way. She can sniff it. But then you walk into a room, and the consciousness is so high that she's like, whoa, who is this guy? It almost makes her nervous to the point where she wants to just look away, not even look at you because of how powerful your aura is. Because all that life force that was supposed to be going out of you actually never did. It stayed within you. And now you're powerful. Your aura has increased. Your Taurus field has expanded. Your heart has expanded. Your heart has been purified. Now let's go into the nuances about the marriage, right? Because a lot of people are gonna be like, oh well, like this is not right. You should be able to please yourself. There's a lot of pleasure in holding your life force. In fact, that feeling of when you get to that peak, let's call it the edge. Some people call it edging, right? When you get to the edge, and instead of outflowing out, you outflow in, and you're able to contract the pelvic floor muscles at such a high rate. This is strength, by the way. And you feel the energy travel up the spine and go to the head, the pineal gland. All of a sudden, it's like this. You feel it. Yeah, you feel it. Okay? You feel it. Okay, and this is very, very powerful. Now, if you're not a married man, this is why it's really important that the sisters were watching this video. If you're not a married man, you could try this. I'm not going to sit here and vouch for self-pleasure, okay? But a big part of this is there's no 0 to 100s, all right? You got to take some baby steps. If you are already lustful, if you're already doing these acts, you can, do that act of pleasure, whatever, but don't release the life force. Instead, when you get to the peak, contract the pelvic floor muscles and allow for that energy to travel up through the spine into your head. Watch. Better than caffeine, better than nicotine, better than any sort of pill you can take, better than any sort of energy source that you could possibly have. It's powerful. And if you mix that with prayer, praying your salah, if you mix that with meditation, getting present and mindful, if you mix that with purpose and you have a purpose and you're powerful in your purpose, you become very, very powerful. Now, see, if we get into the act of self-pleasure, by the way, gooning is what the kids are calling it nowadays. Anyways, if you get into the act of gooning, self-pleasure, whatever you guys want to call it, I want you to really understand this, is that from an outside perspective, if somebody was shooting a documentary of you, this would look pathetic. You would look so weak. Imagine if you were in like a snow globe and you were looking at yourself from the outside in, that's what you were doing with your life. Unless you were doing it for the sake of power, right? There's actually nuances, is that if you do that act, the self-pleasing act, and you get to the peak and you allow for that energy to transmutate up instead of out, that life force stays within you and you become powerful. It's a pretty strong thing to do. It's a pretty strong act to do until you don't need to do that act. Until you could do it on demand and you don't even need to do the act itself. You're just, every single time you have some sort of desire, you tap in and you allow for that energy to move up. Okay, and then if you get married or if you're already married, you have the act of intimacy and it's like you can go as long as you want. You're a machine. And this also solves the epidemic of the Minuteman, right? The Minuteman who has the intimacy and they finish after a minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes or cannot please their wife. I promise you, if you do this, your wife will finish multiple times before you can even reach the state of you even wanting to finish once. I promise you. I can write it down, stamp it, but you have to do it the way I said. You have to reach the higher conscious ability. You have to start understanding women for what they are. Understand that these are women, they have a receptive nature, all right? Whether they are in their active or receptive energy, okay? They are nurturers of relationships, they are fixers of relationships, they're extractors of value, regardless of if they're in active or receptive energy. This is just who they are, and this is how Allah has made them, and we have to embrace that. This is why men have to protect and provide and maintain for women, is because they are extractors of value. They have their lunar phases, all right? The point is that they have these phases, and through these phases, it lasts a month. For us, it's through the day. We'll peak testosterone in the morning, and then we'll plummet, and then we'll peak testosterone again. But if you can master that testosterone as well, you become very, very powerful, all right? So look, the reason why you need to master your lust is not because we live in a sexualized world. It's not because of that. It's not because you need to stop gooning, okay? It's not because of that. This is not no nut. I know a lot of people call it. This is not no nut. I don't go around and be like, yo, I'm no nut 16 months, fellas. No, it's not even a flex. My accomplishments through the mercy of Allah are the flex because of all of the power that I have internally that Allah has bestowed upon me. And this is mercy from Allah. Just remember that. It's not because I have done it. It's mercy from Allah. If you can master your lust, if you can get to the point of energy conservation, life force conservation, you can transfer all of that up to this through the spine to the pineal gland. And if you're able to achieve this, you'll realize something. And look, I want you to give it a test. If you're a younger gun watching this, a younger man, you can give it a test. All right, you can indulge in the act, all right, and get to the point of the peak, contract, all right, and you're gonna have to squeeze the glute muscles. You're gonna have to squeeze the pelvic floor muscles, all right. You're gonna have to get your core going up and down, breathe, all right, and then it's all gonna go up, okay, and then you have to allow for it to hit your brain, the pineal gland. It's almost like things get colorful. It's like you just took a drug, and all of a sudden you're like seeing things. But then you want to go to the gym. Then you want to go on your purpose. Now imagine this, right? Imagine you're also having intercourse, and instead of being tired on the bed, feeling depleted, and your wife seems like she loves it, but she's like, my weak little boy. That's what she's thinking, by the way. Instead of that, she's like, whoa, this guy's like unbreakable, unshakable. I don't know what to do. I want to break him. She's going to try to break you. This is nothing wrong against women, by the way. It's like her trying to break you is nothing wrong against her. All right. She just wants to see how far she can, how strong you actually are. Think about that. Imagine you're a woman and you have this big, strong man. And you're like, wow, he's strong, but I wonder how strong he actually is. So she tests you and tests you and tests you and tests you. And a part of that test is also sexual, right? So she tests you sexually. You're just unbreakable. You're unshakable. She must really feel safe with you. I promise you that woman's not leaving you. she's not walking away. She's going to stay no matter what, as long as you're a good man. All right, because where is she supposed to get another strong man like this? Women aren't really that big of risk takers. Those hundreds of guys in their DMs, what's to say they're like you? Right? If you can achieve that level. Now, a really important thing about mastering your lust is you have to be able to say no. You have to be able to say no to a lot of things. And remember, the Prophet ﷺ said that it's better to hit yourself in the head with a nail than to touch a woman that's not permissible to you. Now, this is a very, very important thing. Is that the Prophet ﷺ said it. So, look, you gotta trust what he said. All right, I want you to imagine that. Taking a nail and just pounding yourself in the head with it. And now you're just like, dead. It's better to do that, okay, than touch a woman that's not permissible to you. So when a woman tries shaking your hand, when a woman tries giving you a hug, when a woman tries doing all that, or if you want to do that, don't. Just say no. And if it's a business interaction, show respect. But hey, I don't shake a woman's hand. I'm Muslim. And you know what? That's respect to you. All right? And you make her feel good about it. Look, that's respect to you. That's your honor. This is an honorable thing. I feel like the only person that should touch your hand is your husband. You don't have to go that deep into it, but the point is that, and I've done that. And you could see the reaction on some of the other women's faces, right? When they're non-Muslim. Like, oh my God. And for some reason, and you know what, like I know this is very interesting, but for some reason, these women become more interested in you because deep down in their primal nature, they want the husband that has self-control. Isn't that so interesting? They want the husband that has self-control. So if you have the self-control, you end up getting the woman you want. Okay? Now, here's a very important thing as well, is you have to be able to say no to any of the desires that come to your mind. Okay? And look, this is easier said than done. You have to be able to say no. If you have the desire to watch some bad things on the internet, no. I'm bigger than that. My consciousness is higher than that. I see the world more clearly for what it is. I understand we live in a soul and sacred energied world. An energetic world that's so powerful that it's this one collective consciousness. And the fact that I'm doing this is a net negative, not only to myself, but to the full collective consciousness. I want to carry this collective consciousness, not be the weak link of it. When you have the desire to do some texting or meet up that girl that's not a good relationship for you, have the ability to say no. You should be able to teach some people some lessons. Say no. She wants to meet up, say no. And I promise you, she will see you as stronger than the rest. Even if she doesn't seem like that, maybe her language and her behavior doesn't pinpoint that. Trust me, deep inside, she starts to realize you're stronger than the rest. Unless you are producing life, the life force shouldn't leave you. Okay, start to look at the women from a higher consciousness, and automatically you won't want the flesh bond. You'll want the soul bond. That's actually another part of lasting longer in intercourse, is that once you realize it's soul bond, and during the act, you don't think about the flesh bond. That's actually what causes you to last insanely long amounts, is because you're not really focused on the flesh and the feeling. You're focused on the souls intertwining. It's powerful stuff. And then all of a sudden, the intimacy is a lot better for her too. And she can go really crazy. Okay, anyways, may Allah bless you. Subscribe to the channel. This was a very interesting video, to say the least, but it needed to be put out because somebody has to give you this information. May Allah bless you.